Twin flames and soulmates. What are 11 similarities and differences to help you differentiate between the two? This is a super juicy one that's gonna go off of the video I did last week, which I will link up here, on the 11 differences between a twin flame and a narcissist. But first, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Hannah, and I help people to own their powers and to step into the driver's seat of their own lives. And this week, we're going to be doing that by helping you determine the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame so you can decide which relationship is the best fit for you. Because really, there's not any right or wrong answer here. It's just whatever you feel called to do, whatever your soul feels called to pursue. This is a super hot topic. I got asked quite a few questions on this one after doing my last video, and I believe I am like the perfect person to talk about this topic because I had the privilege, I guess, of meeting my soulmate after my twin flame. And it was sort of this like weird back-to-back thing where one year I met my twin flame, and then exactly a year later, I met my soulmate. And around that time, my twin flame and I were going into separation. So I was able to then focus on that soulmate relationship and really have a clear idea of the differences between the two. And let me tell you, friends, I am so grateful for that experience because if I had met the soulmate first, I would have sworn to God that he was my twin flame, knowing what I do about twin flames and just everything you see on the internet, right? But because I met the twin flame first, when I met the soulmate, I pretty quickly realized it for what it was. So it is my hope, friends, that I'm able to help you do the same. If you haven't watched the video where I go into the differences between twin flames and narcissists, I'd recommend checking that out because that's going to have a little bit more of an emphasis on these signs in regards to twin flames. This time I'm going to go over the same signs, but how they relate to soulmates instead. And the emphasis is going to be more so on the soulmate part of the equation. So sign number one is this feeling of recognition when you meet this person. I like to call it the party member effect. Whereas, I love my video game analogies. I think of life like a video game. And in video games, a lot of times you'll have your party. This is not even like limited to video games. This could be in like Dungeons and Dragons, for example. You have a party of like different characters. And in the video games, like you can switch oftentimes between those characters in your party and play as them. They're that important. So I call it the party member effect when I meet someone in my reality that I know is very important to my particular mission. Like we're in the same party, we have the same mission, we're soul family, we're soulmates. And so you get this feeling of recognition, this party member effect upon meeting your twin flame or your soulmate. And this is where it starts to get muddy because it is so freaking similar. I do not blame anyone for getting these two topics confused because in some ways they are so similar and a lot of the signs you're going to see are the same. So it really is like, it just comes down to little bitty semantics sometimes on how a soulmate differentiates between a twin flame. I will say, I personally, fun anecdote, I totally geeked out when I met my soulmate a year later. What was also geeky, I kid you not, I got the number of my twin flame on Valentine's Day the first year. The second year, I got the number of my soulmate. How weird is that? And I wasn't even romantic with either of them, so that makes it even weirder. It's not like it was like one of us hitting on the other. It was just purely platonic friendship. So I knew that was like, hey, pay attention to this. This is important. You just got this other person's number last year, and they were a very powerful party member. So when I got the soulmate's number, I was like, yeah, there's definitely something there. It was just so weird. I remember when we first met, we really couldn't stop looking at each other. It reminds me of Twilight when Edward is staring at Bella and she just thinks something's wrong with her because they keep just staring each other down. That's kind of how it was when I met my soulmate, and also a little bit when I met my twin flame. So again, it's basically the same, that one. So the second sign for twin flame was that they don't align with your ideals for your perfect partner or your type. That's the terminology I use. They don't align with your idea of your type. However, when it comes to the soulmate, this is where the first difference happens. I would say that oftentimes your soulmate does align with your ideal type. That was certainly the case for me. My twin flame was someone I never would have pictured for myself, whereas my soulmate kind of checked off all the typical boxes for me. So third twin flame sign is that you can't hide from them. They always just know because you're the same soul and you're connected. With narcissists, as we talked about in that other video, you can hide parts of yourself. Now, somewhere, I feel like soulmates is somewhere in the middle. I felt very seen and very vulnerable, like with my soulmate from the get-go. However, I do feel like it just wasn't on the same level as my twin flame. Again, this is why I'm grateful that I met the twin flame first, because that's why I could tell the difference. As vulnerable as I felt around my soulmate, as much as we understood each other and we were like the same, there were some areas where we just like didn't align and didn't completely mesh. And there were some parts of me, like I would maybe reveal something and the soulmate would be like shocked to hear that about me. Whereas my twin flame, I never even told him and he would just know. And like if I would reveal something, he wouldn't exactly be shocked because he already kind of knew. But the soulmate, they will be shocked about things. 4, they always know exactly what to say for your healing. That's a twin flame. Now, the soulmates, I believe this is also true. However, it's not going to be to the same frequency as a twin flame. Twin flame, it's almost like everything they say, in reflection for my situation at least, everything they say, no matter how seemingly innocuous, is the perfect thing for you and your healing in that moment. Soulmates, not exactly the case. There are going to be some things that your soulmate says that really like stand out to you and you're like, oh wow, like I needed that. I needed that for healing. I know that in fact, my soulmate helped me to heal like a wound that was completely ripped open when my twin flame and I got into separation. And so in that moment, like he really helped me to heal. He knew exactly what to say for my healing. But other times it wasn't like slapping me across the face, if you will. We would have like pointless, stupid banter sometimes, shall we say, that had no real purpose. It just, I guess what I'm getting at here without getting too rambly is that a twin flame is going to be like supercharged healing. Whereas the soulmate, it's going to be like a gentle healing. They're still going to say exactly what you need for your healing, but not with the same intensity as a twin flame will. I hope that makes sense. 5 is that your twin flame complements you, right? Whereas the soulmates, they're actually, in my opinion, I believe that many soulmates are going to be very, very freakishly similar to you. They're not going to complement you. They are going to just be you. I remember like one time, like a good friend of me and my soulmate was like, you guys are just like the same person. And yet at the same time, even though like twin flames are more the same person at a soul level, on the surface, it's going to appear to people maybe like you and your soulmate are more of the same person. Like you have more interests in common. It's all just really superficial stuff that you have in common. So others, when they look upon that, they're going to see that. An example is like my soulmate and I appeared to be more in alignment with things. Like we were both really into spirituality, really like woke into this social media kind of stuff. Whereas my twin flame was, as I like to say, the Matrix twin, not woke at all, thinking that the stuff that I do, talking about dragons and twin flames and shit, is totally crazy and stuff like that. And that's such like a core value for me. So on the surface, it might appear like, oh, that the twin flame is so different. But in actuality, they complement. So like the example I used the last time was personality type. So I'm the INFJ personality type. My twin flame is the ENFP personality type. And those two types are actually perfectly complementary to each other. So that's a great example there. Now me and the soulmate are both INFJs. We're the same personality type. So I feel like that was just like such a slap across the face, clear-cut example. So sign 6 is that your values align. Now, again, this one's kind of tricky because on the surface, it's gonna appear like your soulmate's values align more than you and your twin flame's values do. Oftentimes, it happens that soulmates are into spirituality, whereas like your twin flame is not gonna be into spirituality. If you're the type watching my videos, likely you'll meet soulmates that are already awakened, they're already woke, whereas your twin flame is just wandering off in the 3D, completely oblivious to this stuff. But that's just on the surface level. So if you go deeper, you go to your core values, that is going to be in alignment with your twin flame. It's not going to be in alignment exactly with your soulmate. What I like to say, the cheat here, is there's always going to be some sort of compromise with a soulmate. All in all, soulmate relationships are much smoother than twin flame relationships, at least in the beginning. Much nicer, kinder, gentler. However, there's always going to be some sort of compromise there. Whereas a twin flame, once you work through the rockiness and the triggers and you do your healing, there is no compromise. You guys are in perfect alignment on your core values. So an example from my situation is that my soulmate was very clear that he wanted children, and he knew exactly how many children he wanted. He was down to have children now, and like, he was very much into that. Whereas I am not really sure about that. I have always kind of leaned towards no. I'm kind of starting to be open to it, but still I'm like, I'm on the fence. And I was like, if I did have kids, it would be long down the line. And my twin flame, exact same vision as me with that. Exactly the same. We are in the exact same place. So whether I decide to have kids or not to in the future, I know that my twin flame will make the very same decision in the end, and there's going to be no compromise. So 7th sign of a twin flame is that they trigger you. A soulmate is going to trigger you too. Sure, everyone triggers us really, but I believe that twin flames do trigger us a lot more. Again, it's a lot more aggressive. It's going to be a lot more intensive. A soulmate will trigger you from time to time, but usually it is just going to be smooth sailing. Why a lot of people aren't going to be satisfied with that and eventually do want to move on to being with their twin flame is because it gets boring after a while without any, growth. I don't even want to say drama. I mean, sure, in the beginning there can be drama, but when you heal through those triggers and stuff, it doesn't even have to be drama. It's just when they trigger you, it's growth. And I've seen many people that are in union where they welcome the conflict, the challenge, the contrast, because they're like, oh, we get closer to each other as a result of that and closer to ourselves. But yeah, just know twin flames will trigger you a lot. Soulmates, not so much. And if they are triggering you a lot and it still doesn't feel like a twin flame, it's likely a narcissist or like some karmic relationship, because they will do the same, but it's going to feel, again, contracting, not expansive like a twin flame. So 8 is that they give you what you need, not what you want. A twin flame always gives you what you need. Now, a soulmate, they'll give you what you want and they'll give you what you need. I think in comparison to the narcissist, the soulmate is more likely to be, again, in the middle between this twin flame and the narcissist. They're not always going to give you what you want, but they're not always going to give you what you need either. They're going to be nice, like they're going to be Switzerland, okay? They're going to be Switzerland, nice middle neutral ground. Again, it's the smoothest, I believe, of all the different relationships a person can have when you're with a soulmate. So yeah, they're going to give you a nice balance of the things that you need, even if it's not necessarily what you want, and the things that you want and that feel nice and pleasant and appease your ego. Sign number 9 is that you can't stop thinking about your twin flame. Now, with the soulmate, this was a huge one for me between the twin flame and the soulmate, because I was deeply, deeply in love with both of them, like at the same time. And it was so hard to like tell the difference. But what did it for me was I always thought about my twin flame. Like sometimes when I was with my soulmate and stuff, I would not think about the twin flame in that moment. But then at the end of the day, I'd go home, lay down, and my twin flame was back in my mind again. Similarly, when I like stopped talking to the soulmate and we kind of went into a separation, it was pretty easy for me to detach actually. And in the moments when I was like in that relationship and stuff and interacting with that person, it felt like just as intense as the relationship with my twin flame. I was thinking about the soulmate a lot, but as soon as it was over, I was able to detach very, very quickly. Even now, sometimes I'll still think about the soulmate relationship and go back, but there was a feeling like it was easy to let the soulmate go because I knew that he would be better off with someone else. And I truly wanted that for him. And I feel like him, on some level, he had that for me as well. With the twin flame, I like felt like a crazy like narcissist or something when the separation first happened, because I was like, well, I want my twin flame to go off and be happy with someone else, because my twin flame got with a third party. I was like, I want him to be happy. If that's what makes him happy, I want him to go do that. But I was like, I can't shake this feeling that he's not really going to be happy with that other person. He's only ever really going to be happy with me. So there's just been this inability, shall we say, of letting him go, because I'm like, no, man, we're meant to be together. He's never truly going to be happy with that person or really anyone else, and neither am I. That doesn't mean we can't both have fun soulmate relationships, but even that, like I said, is eventually going to get boring and be a sort of a compromise as opposed to the twin flame relationship. So there's just like this intuition with your twin flame that you know you guys are supposed to be together, and it does not come from need. It's just pure unconditional love. The soulmate, if you really love them, you'll be able to let them go, and that will feel good. I mean, again, these things are always painful. Of course, there's going to be pain, but at the end of the day, after you've processed that grief, it will feel right. Sign number 10 is that you love them unconditionally. And I would say I've found this to be true, at least for my soulmate situation. I don't know if this is the case for everyone with the soulmate. Really depends. What I've experienced, what I've seen clients and friends experience with soulmates, it is unconditional love, just like the twin flame. But the twin flame unconditional love, kind of, it all has to do about like this inner work, so that eventually you guys will come into union, right? With the soulmate, what I've felt it really comes up to, it boils up to, it builds up to, is you kind of build up to the point where you can let your soulmate go with love so that they can be with their twin flame or a better, like more suited partner. And you can be with your better, more suited partner. But yeah, I always felt unconditional love from my soulmate, and I always had and still do have unconditional love for my soulmate, just as I do with my twin flame. Again, as I've said with maybe some other signs though, because I met the twin flame first, I can tell you the intensity is just much, much stronger with the twin flame than it is with the soulmate. With soulmates, you know, if it's the first time you've ever experienced something like that, if like you've met your soulmate, all you've had is like karmics and like narcissists up until that point, and you haven't yet met your twin flame, that's gonna feel like so powerful. But if you've met your twin flame first, you're gonna feel the difference between that love and a soulmate love. The soulmate love, it's just gentler, it's softer, it's not as intense. So finally, we have 11, sign number 11. The sense of home that you get when you're with your twin flame. Now, this is another muddy one. I would say I also felt a sense of home with my soulmate. I would say, of course, everyone's going to feel a sense of home with your soulmates because They are your soul family, quite literally. You're cut from the same soul cloth. It will feel like home. But it's just not going to be of the same intensity. And this is why I feel it's like hard to put these into words for those of you who maybe haven't met your twin flame yet. You're only going to really know the difference here when you've met your twin flame, because it's another situation of the intensity won't be as strong with the soulmate. There's still going to be a sense of home with the soulmate, just not as strongly as when you're with your twin flame. Really, that's what it all boils down to. So TLDR on that, a twin flame is like when someone's soul literally like splits into two or even more than two parts. I believe that's possible. And as such, you're just like more the same. With a soulmate, you're just in the same soul group. So like different pods, like within that group. So it's like a similar feeling, but it's not going to be as intense as the twin flame, which is literally the same soul as yours within that pod. As such, twin flame relationships are going to be a lot more volatile. But with anything, all that volatility is going to be a lot more satisfying in the end. It's going to feel like the perfect relationship where there is no real compromise. The soulmate is going to feel a lot nicer. There's not going to be a lot of drama. There's not going to be a lot of volatility. There's not probably even going to be like lots of breaking up, like separations and coming together moments. It's just going to be much simpler, much easier. But if you're like kind of letting it run its course, eventually it's just going to be boring. It's just going to be blah, and you're probably going to crave something more, at which point it's time to let your soulmate go and potentially let your twin flame in. But if you do choose to be with a soulmate in this life, that's totally cool. I always encourage people to just trust their own intuition on these matters, on what is right for them in the moment. And it might totally shift. It might change from moment to moment what you feel is right for yourself. So just always trust your intuition. If you take nothing else away from this video, that's it. That's the key to this twin flame journey. That's the key to owning your powers and to ascending. As always, friends, I would love to know how many of these signs you can relate to, whether you think the relationship that you're thinking of is a twin flame relationship or a soulmate relationship. And if you've got any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments below. I try to get to all of them if I can. And it's possible, like this time, that I will make a video on those questions. And if you're like on this journey and you're still like, I think I'm on the twin flame journey and it sucks, help. I got you, friend. You can hit me up on my website. I'll link it below in the description. I offer twin flame readings that can help you get in some clarity there. We can connect with your twin flame's higher self. I can also pull into the different energies of your different relationships, kind of get a feel for maybe if there's twin flame potential there, or soulmate potential, or narcissist potential. And you can also do coaching with me if you're feeling like you need even more consistent help. Let me tell you, coaching has done wonders for me on my twin flame journey. I believe it is fully necessary to have that support. It's because it ain't easy. It ain't easy, and likely most people around you do not know what you're going through, and therefore, even though they might have the best intentions, don't know exactly how to give you really useful, beneficial advice. So if you're being called, I encourage you to check the description below. As always, me and the dragons would love you forever if you could like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when I post on my super erratic schedule. And of course, we will always love you forever, no matter what. So until next time, friends, stay powerful.